Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has acknowledged developing a, quote, personal relationship with special prosecutor and former President Donald Trump's Georgia election case, Nathan Wade. Trump's co-defendant, Michael Roman, accused Willis and Wade of having romantic ties last month, per The Hill, but Willis has denied any wrongdoing, saying, quote, any personal relationship among members of the prosecution team does not amount to a disqualifying conflict of interest or otherwise harm a criminal defendant.
Some of the folks over at MSNBC recently weighed in on Willis's acknowledgement of the relationship. Let's hear what they had to say.
I think that the notion of tainting the jury pool is a valid one. I don't think that Fani Willis stepping away from this case eliminates that, because you're still talking about her office, you're still talking about her investigators, and you're still talking about her indictment. And so I think that she did the right thing by saying, look, this is what it is. She can't get in front of it because, you know, what a lot of people may not realize is that in the streets of Fulton County, this was largely considered to be a public secret in terms of this relationship. And that doesn't make it better or worse. What I'm saying is I don't know that the impact on the jury will be as significant as people are thinking is going to be, because for the jury pool, it may not be that much of a surprise.
Nathan Wade has not appeared to comment on the issue since Willis acknowledged this relationship. Willis and Wade have been subpoenaed to testify next week on the allegations against them.
Yeah, I'm confused about the posture of this idea that it's going to hurt, it's going to bias the jury pool. The allegation seems to be that it's going to bias the jury pool against Trump in some way. I'm not seeing that. If anything, I would assume that the corruption and just general poor management by Fani Willis would make this seem even more like a kangaroo court to those who are inclined to believe that this isn't a legitimate case against Donald Trump, and hurt her to the extent that there's a desire to recuse her and replace her in this situation. I would think that would be very strongly supported by Democrats who want this case to be as successful as possible. But that doesn't seem to be what folks are arguing right now.
Yeah, I don't know. The claim is just the perception of this is going to somehow affect the way the case is perceived and covered. Again, that's not anything that bears directly on a decision that a jury has to make. So it's a kind of like amorphous, you know, the vibes are changing on this prosecution, and maybe that will somehow affect the case, which I guess could be. It's certainly not good for the case, but maybe it doesn't ultimately change anything. It does, you know, it's interesting to see confirmation now from her that this is what it appeared to be in terms of their romantic relationship. We also covered last week this new accusation against her that she had fired a whistleblower, someone who came forward and said that public funds in the Fulton County DA office were being misspent by but not by Fani Willis, by some other figure, that this grant that had to be used for I think setting up programs for juveniles was being used for like splurging for buying office supplies, and phones and things like that. And this employee came to Fani Willis, very, very upset about it, and told her, and Fani Willis seemed to acknowledge it, and then subsequently was fired. Now, we don't know the other side of this. We don't know if there was some legitimacy to her being fired, or frankly, if the accusation she was making was true. But it looked very suspect. And this person has come forward and identified herself and shared audio recording, and has said on the record that this is how it was.
Yeah. I mean, I do, to the jury pool point, so one of the arguments, as I understand it, is that because in defending herself, Fani Willis accused those making the accusation against her of being racist, now you have a posture where Willis, who apparently is very popular in Fulton County, she received over 71% of the Democratic primary vote in 2020. This is from reporting in New York Magazine. That her publicly calling defense teams in the highest profile case racist could outrage a potential jury pool, and that those kind of inflammatory statements are not what you would normally expect in this kind of situation, which all of that feels fine and right to me. I can see a million reasons that both sides would want Fani Willis and her now admitted romantic partner to be nowhere near this case. And given the low consequences for swapping them out, and given, frankly, that there seems to be some credibility to the idea that her partner is not the most qualified person to run this case. I just don't understand why we're still having this conversation and why there hasn't been a hard reset.
So Fani Willis was elected in 2020, defeated a 6-term incumbent, Paul Howard Jr., who was accused of some sexual misconduct or harassment in the office, and was actually, when she was interviewed about why she was running against him, she brought that up. This is an interesting clip.
Incredibly juicy clip in retrospect. Take a look.
Let's play it.
What I can guarantee you is with my reputation, with my community ties, I am going to be able to attract the best and the brightest minds to that office. You're sitting with someone today that actually wants to make a difference because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees, because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children.
So, of course, you know, sexually harassing someone in the workplace is not the same thing as having a consensual romantic relationship.
Sure. Although what you just said was sex with your employees. I don't know that he's the guy she picked to run this case. He is, in fact, working for her in some capacity, which is why there are ethical questions, because she picked him, she hired him, public funding is being directed to him, and there's accusations that he paid for trips he took her on. It sounds like exactly what she just described.
The kind of soft kickback argument that's being made.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, you know, maybe she did not plan to have these romantic feelings when she entered the office, and
love wins. The heart wants what the heart wants, Briahna.
But at the end of the day, it happened. We're in this situation, and it does seem to be like zero upside into wanting to cling to this particular set of prosecutors when the stakes, as Democrats have laid it out for themselves, the stakes of this case in particular are so incredibly high.
Just a great example of Donald Trump really bringing people together to find love and romance. Happy for them. But yeah, it seems like they should not be involved in this case, and might not be for much longer. More Rising right after this.